October was one of my best months ever for trophy hunting, and so I wanted to share with you all the trophies I unlocked in October. I got 6 or 7 platinums, a couple of 100%. I cleaned up a ton of games off my backlog. So it's just been really good in terms of, boosting that completion percentage, having a good time, and playing some great games. So, as we always do, I'm going to take you trophy by trophy. We're going to talk through the ones that were, difficult, notable, whatever it may be. These videos are always best enjoyed podcast styles. So, throw me up on the second monitor or, just do a little trophy grinding yourself while you're working on a platinum or working on a trophy you've been trying to get for a while. Hopefully I can keep you some company and give you some entertainment. So with that, we're going to jump right in over to PSNP and start talking through what I earned. So we're going to start on October 1st, although if you go back through the end of September, you're going to get a lot of the same things. And that is Lone Survivor. So this is the game I was really working the most on at the start of the month. If you've never played it before, this is Lone Survivor Director's Cut, which is actually the middle of the 3 Lone Survivors game. There was original Lone Survivor Director's Cut, and now there's a remake that just came out this year sometime. But I think that's only on Steam and Switch. I don't know that the remake is available on PlayStation, at least not yet. Yeah, I started out, I was pretty close to the platinum at the end of this month, or the beginning of the month. So I needed to do a couple of playthroughs that I was working on at the same time. You can see these 2 timestamps popped back to back because I did the 2 playthroughs together. First is complete the game using only 1 piece of meat and no flares. So Lone Survival is a survival horror game, and you can kind of choose to avoid the enemies, like stealth past them or shoot them. And meat and flares are kind of your main items. Meat is your main and option for stealth in the first half of the game, and flares are in the second half of the game. It just lets you avoid having to actually kill the enemies. But I was doing a playthrough where I was kind of going full violence mode, and so, obviously that's how we get antagonist, because they know that you had to shoot a bunch of stuff. And so I was able to pair that with the expert mode. It's really not that hard. You do have to use this 1 piece of meat because the very first enemy in the game, kind of the tutorial enemy, there's no way to avoid using a piece of meat because you don't have your gun yet, which is why they allow 1. But otherwise, if you're going for like a guns a-blazing style approach, you're going to have no problem with this one at all. And honestly, same in expert mode. I was a little worried because I'm not that good at survival horror games, and I was like, oh boy, I'm going to have to do some tough playthrough. But no, not really. In reality, the main 2 disadvantages of expert mode are, 1, you can't open your map. But by this time, this was like the 3rd playthrough, so I pretty much knew my way around. I didn't really need a map at all. Plus, you could always look up like a map online if you needed to reference it. And then the other one was that I needed to never... Oh, no, not that I never, but I couldn't see button prompts for items and doors. So you don't get prompted when there's something to collect, which is really also not that big of a deal because stuff is pretty obvious. And again, 2nd, 3rd, 4th playthrough, you're going to know what you need to do. Like you're pretty experienced, especially, if you look down below at some of these other ones here, all of these are like pretty specific things in terms of like making combined food items and getting specific endings with specific conditions. And so all that is very much the hard part of this, and this is you kind of on autopilot doing that last little bit of cleanup. So I did those right away on the 1st of October, which is perfect because, as you can see down under my head here, True Survivor, we unlocked the platinum on October 1st at that same timestamp because those are the last trophies I needed. Ultra rare platinum, 4.56%, which is pretty cool. I would say a pretty doable ultra rare too. I think this is probably ultra rare mostly because it's got a pretty decent number of owners. Like almost 100,000 people have this game. I assume it was probably free at some point or another, or it's just been discounted so much because it's such an old indie. But yeah, if you enjoy survival horror and you want something a little bit different, because this is in that sort of 16-bit pixelated 2D side-on style, I would say give Lone Survivor a shot, not True Survivor, but go for the True Survivor Platinum. Not bad at all, and a nice ultra rare to add. And then right away we get into the next game I played for October. Survival horror time, scary games, we got to do it. That is Resident Evil 3. So I watched my friend play, or I didn't watch my friend, but I was talking to my friend as he replayed it to get the platinum. My buddy Matt, that I've been kind of working on we've been going back and forth working on our trophy backlogs. I told him to go to Resident Evil 3, he did, and then that put me in the mood. So I decided I was going to play it right away. I stream exclusively scary or like Halloween appropriate games on my Twitch channel all month of October. And so this was the first game I streamed on the 1st. So this is around my stream time, which is why it popped at 8:30 at night. And yeah, just escaped Jill's apartment. So, I did kind of my main playthroughs here. Hopefully there's not too many spoilers for folks, but this is all what I did in that first night. Crafting an item and expand your inventory. I did take down Nemesis right away. And then that was it for that stream. So really enjoyed revisiting Resident Evil 3. I played this game on original PlayStation when it first came out back in like 2000. And I only played it the one time, and I never went back to it. And so this was almost like a fresh playthrough for me. Like it was basically a new Resident Evil game, because I really didn't remember almost anything. I remembered running through the city streets as Jill, and I remember the Nemesis chases, and I remembered some other stuff. But most of the like minute-to-minute stuff, or even the major plot points, I had forgotten. So this was really a lot of fun. And yeah, we moved on then to... After that night, the next day, I was just working on some cleanup of my backlog. One of the games that I had in my backlog that I'd already played through in the past is A Way Out. So if you've never played A Way Out before, great co-op game. You play as these two fellas that are escaping from prison, and then kind of the events immediately following their escape from prison. And it's just a really fun time. This studio went on to do It Takes Two, which a lot more people know them for. Joseph Fares has obviously become like a bit of a household name in certain circles. So it's probably not new or surprising to anyone that this game is pretty good. But if you haven't ever played it, I do highly suggest get a friend. Just hang out. It'll take you 5-6 hours to work through. Really not bad at all. And it's super fun. In terms of the actual platinum, though, almost all of the trophies are optional side things that you can discover or not. And so when I played through with my buddy, we weren't going for trophies or anything. We were just playing through. I hadn't really paid attention to what the actual trophies were, but I decided I'll boot it back up, download my save file off PS Plus and try to clean up this platinum. I did it just by myself. You can do pretty much the entire thing with 2 controllers except for one trophy, which I'll talk about in a second. And it's really very, very fast to clean up. There's chapter select, very granular chapter select in this game. You can go to the specific chapter and the specific scene within that chapter when you're chapter selecting. So you're never more than 5 minutes away from the trophy that you're trying to get. And I just looked up what they were, followed a guide to get them in order, and I cleaned up all the miscellaneous stuff. You're freeing a bird from somebody's office, or starting a windmill, or playing on a seesaw. Just bunch of miscellaneous stuff like that. And like I said, you can clean them all up on your own. The one that you can't clean up on your own unless you're like a god is In Sync. This music was played in harmony. There's a section where you find, I think it's a banjo and a piano, and each person gets rhythm style notes coming at them from multiple directions, and you depress the notes, and you just get the trophy for both of you getting a combo of 20 to 30 notes in a row. But if you aren't playing with a partner, you're pretty much not going to be able to get this. Your brain will be split in half. It's 10 times harder than Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It's way too much to look at. It's not really possible to track all the notes for both instruments at the same time. And so I had my wife come downstairs. She's very familiar with rhythm games. She's very good at them. So I just had her come down and take the minute to help me play and get this one last trophy. And then we unlocked the platinum. Yeah, so thanks to my wife for that. I appreciate you. And you can see the cleanup was very fast. It started at 8:40 in the morning and was done by 10:20. So an hour and a half or so to get basically every trophy in the game. Because I only had 2 or 3 of them. Basically every trophy in the game since starting with a completed playthrough. So if you have played through this game before, I highly recommend just go clean it up. Good, easy completion for your profile and a good game, and I'm happy to have the actual platinum represented on my account now. I really enjoy this game. It's really fun. So then I'm back here playing through more Resident Evil. So this is another stream of mine. So you'll probably see these go through about 11 p.m. Yep, so we get all the way through 10:47 on the second, and I got all the weapons. Still not quite done with the first playthrough, but we're getting there. We're pretty close at this point. And then I took a little break the next morning. So I play games in two distinct times. I play them either in the morning from like 7:30 or 8 until like 9:30 or so. And that's really before I start my workday. So this is after I drop my son off at daycare, but before I've started my workday. I'll squeeze in a couple hours of games. Usually I squeeze in kind of the more grindy type trophies in the mornings because I can just like throw a YouTube video up on the second TV and just kind of grind out, ease into my day, play some stuff that is not too story intensive before I start my workday. And I really like that ritual. And so a lot of times I end up lately working on DJ Max Respect, which, here it is. I have it sitting next to me. So there's the game, which is a rhythm game. I've talked about this on multiple videos like this before. They had one DLC pack that I had not yet earned all the trophies. Well, I have not earned all the trophies in all the DLC packs, but what I've done is for every DLC pack, I've gone through and I've earned all the trophies that are like reasonable without being ridiculously good at the game. You have to be so good to earn some of these trophies. Like just a savant at rhythm games. Way better than I am, but I can get most of them. And so I was playing, I unlocked this accumulated 200 million points trophy, which is basically just like a grind, play a lot of the game trophy. There's also one for 300,000 points, which is the last one that I need to get the platinum actually. So I'm over halfway done. So I'm at like 270 cumulative million right now. So I'm actually getting pretty close to getting the platinum, but I'm not quite there yet. But this V2, or this V Extension 2 was a DLC pack that I had not yet gotten the unlockable reasonable trophies for, so I went and I played that. This is, a lot of these packs are borrowed from other rhythm games, and this one's the same too, although I'm not familiar with a lot of the music from those other rhythm games, so it's just kind of having fun, grinding out, playing my rhythm games. You can see that this has like a Gravity Rush style, the trophy icons are like a person, like an anime character, but I unlocked them out of order so they don't show up correctly on my sidebar there in the trophy log. Then we're back to October 3rd, my third stream of the season, and we beat the game. We completed it on standard or higher. So took me 3 calendar days, but about 7-8 hours to finish Resident Evil 3 on my first playthrough. But that's not the end of Resident Evil 3, as you will see. And then after I finished my playthrough of Resident Evil 3, then I moved on to the next horror game I was going to stream, which is Crow Country. If you've never seen Crow Country before, it's pretty awesome. It came out this year. It actually came out the same day as Animal Well, so it kind of got slept on, I feel like. Not a lot of people have been paying attention to it because other more popular indies came out right at the same time. But it is a PS1, N64, or really Sega Saturn style survival horror. So it has very old looking graphics, very simple models, not polygonal, but they're very rounded in the way that to me reminds me of N64 or Saturn, right? Something like Sonic R or maybe like Chameleon Twist on N64. It's just got like that old quality to it, which is clearly what they're going for. And you're running around doing all of your survival horror things in an amusement park. The amusement park's name is Crow Country, which is why the game's name is Crow Country. Obviously, scary, spooky things happen, and you're really trying to find the owner of the amusement park, but you're also trying to figure out what the hell happened here, what's going on. It's got a pretty great story, actually, very fun. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute, but I have to say, I did enjoy the initial taste of it. Then I went back and I'm cleaning up some of the miscellaneous trophies in Resident Evil 3 before starting on one of my next projects, which was the Control DLC. So I had never done the Control DLC before. I played through Control right when it came out. I loved it, but I'd never gone back and done the 2 expansion packs, Foundation and AWE. So this is me doing the foundation. Or no, this is AWE, I think. Yeah, this is AWE. So going through and just basically cleaning up that second DLC pack. I must have done foundation in late September. But I have to say, this final boss here, the third thing, man, I got a bone to pick with this final boss. It was bad. It was not a good final boss. So this guy, there's like a light component to it where you can only attack him when he's in the light. And so there's these generators around the arena, and you need to use your control telekinesis powers to yank the power grid cubes that you get in the game and throw them into the generators to light the generators. And then when the lights come on in the room, then you can do damage to him. And then at some point he'll do an attack where he yanks those cubes off the generators and makes it dark again. And he'll also heal himself when it's dark. The problem comes in that you don't recharge your telekinetic abilities in the dark. You have to be in the light to recharge them. So sometimes he'll make the lights dark and you don't have any power to grab the cube and throw it. So you need to run over to a light source, stand there, because there's a few light sources in the arena to let you recharge. Stand there, get your juice back, then go throw it. But by then, he's recovered so much health that you're basically starting the fight over again. And so the fight took me 20 minutes or maybe more because it was just this endless cycle of me getting him halfway down and him healing back up. Now, I did eventually learn that you, I think, can interrupt some of his attacks, but you have to really time it well. So you don't necessarily have to take that long, but it did take me a long time to beat that boss, and I did not love my experience with it. And then I just went through and I cleaned up the hidden areas, which is kind of a collectible, just, locations that are out of the way and hard to find. And then this last trophy, which actually was pretty meh, was killed 25 airborne rangers. This is a new enemy type introduced in the second DLC. And there's very few of them. I think I beat the whole DLC and got all the hidden areas and collectibles, and I had found 10 airborne rangers. And so I kept just having to run out and back in and out and back in of this one particular fight, this one arena. And there was a 40% chance or something that one of these guys would spawn. It just took a long time. It was multiple hours of grinding to get that done. You can see here, I got all the locations and then I immediately started working on it. So from 11:13 until 1 in the afternoon, that's all I did was just farm that one room. So not a great total number, but a great DLC for sure. Has some ties back to Alan Wake. So if you played Alan Wake 2 recently and you like that, you'll enjoy the DLC pack. Oh, and then I needed to go get this last one, which was in AWE, it's just kind of like an RNG event. All right, and then I started playing Resident Evil 3 for the second time. So you have to do multiple playthroughs. You actually have to do more unless you purchase the unlock everything DLC that Capcom has. I'll admit it, they got my money. All right, if they're only gonna, it was on sale for $2. Pay $2 and it saves you 3 playthroughs of the game. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of what I did, but you know what? So you got to do what you got to do in order to get that platinum. You got to take all the tools you have. And so I bought that DLC, which immediately unlocks the hardest difficulty. I worked it out where I could do all the playthroughs in basically 3. The first one I did was I played through and basically got all the collectibles and everything optional using 1 or fewer recovery items. It's another one of those things where there's one section in the game where you kind of have to use a recovery item, and so that's why they give you 1. There's a section with these kind of bugs, but other than that, went through, got all the Charlie dolls, got all the story files, just all the various things that I had not yet earned. And I also combined that without opening an item box. So never went into my item box, never used a recovery item, which really wasn't too bad because, again, I was playing on a pretty easy difficulty, and you have unlockable bonuses that include infinite ammo rocket launcher and a expansion to your inventory and stuff like that. So not bad at all. So that was my second playthrough of Resident Evil 3. Stay tuned. It may show up again. Then I moved on and I went back to a game that I hadn't played in a long time. It's a game called Stay. This is another Vita game. And I don't think very many people have played it. I mean, you can tell there's only 175 owners on PSNP. Stay is an interesting game. The premise is kind of like, imagine Saw, like the movie Saw, but not as violent. And you don't play as the person trapped. You play as someone talking to them over instant messenger. So this guy wakes up in a house with multiple rooms and things, and there's all sorts of like clues and mysterious like things happening in this house. He seems to be alone in this kind of puzzle house. And there's a computer there, and he can talk to you, and you're not controlling him. You're just responding to his messages. And so the game plays out just based on what you tell him to do, basically, and how you respond to things with him. The game keeps track of how often you, like, say, encouraging things or negative things to him, and that builds like a bond meter. And also, the game is called Stay because the game also keeps track of how long you spend away from the game, like in real time. So if I play for, a couple hours today, turn it off, go to bed, wake up in the morning, play some more, the game will have tracked, 8 hours went by that you didn't play. And in the fiction of the game, that dude is left alone to figure stuff out on his own during those 8 hours. So kind of interesting. In order to get the platinum, so I'd already played through this game in the past. This is another one off of my backlog. In order to get the platinum, you have to get all of the different endings, which are a combination of decisions you make, your bond level, and the time away that you spent from that person. I won't talk about the story in particular. I think it's, interesting enough to experience on your own. It's not like the best game in the world. It's kind of slow and kind of clunky, and the writing isn't always great. So I don't want to oversell it, but it is interesting. If you like, kind of horror adjacent stuff, it's not really scary, but if you like just kind of tension, I guess, and you like interesting games and you like Vita, definitely worth at least looking into. Small little indie game. And so this was me. I did a second playthrough and kind of got the true ending, the really good ending. I did this all in one sitting, so that's why I got the Never Leave Quinn. Then I did that playthrough, and then I was, still in a Vita mood. I was out. The wife had taken the kids somewhere, so I was just kind of vibing on my own, playing some games, and so I played some Super Beat Sonic. This is another rhythm game on the Vita, and I was just unlocking the trophies that I could, basically playing through the World Tour mode, which is kind of like the mission mode in this game, and earned S++s, which is the highest rating you can get, and just some miscellaneous trophies like, barely clear a song, unlock some specific sounds, increase my level to 50, play 100 songs, all sorts of stuff. So this is another one that I've been slowly chipping away at. I don't think I'm actually going to be able to get the platinum, if I'm being honest. The last, 5 missions in the game are really, really hard. I might practice to get good enough, but I almost don't know that I can. We'll see. I'm never sure how far I want to take these rhythm games when they come up, but I will say Super Beat Sonic, very, very good rhythm game. If you have a Vita, I highly recommend this one. Definitely one of my top recommendations in terms of Vita games. All right. And now we are back on Resident Evil, and I did my speed run and complete the game with an S rank, and beat the game on Nightmare or higher, and beat the game on Hardcore, and beat it with S rank on Inferno. That's right, so I did an Inferno run, and I got a speed run of the Inferno run, which is how most people do it, because to get the S rank on Inferno, one of the conditions is that you have to speed run it. And you also have to do it with less than 5 saves, and I forget what the last condition is. Something that's not that hard to get. Might be a number of healing items or something like that, but yeah. So I did a playthrough on the hardest difficulty, pretty easy to get all the way through. The only thing that I will suggest for people is save at least one of your saves for the last form of the last boss, because almost the entire game is very predictable. Like, you know mostly where enemies are going to be, you can always avoid them, shoot them, take them out, and you have an infinite ammo rocket launcher, so like you're pretty safe. There's a couple spots where you're probably going to die to Nemesis because he moves just so fast, but by and large, if you space your saves out, you're not going to have too much of a problem with your Inferno run, especially because you'll already have played the game multiple times by now. But that last boss is like a whole different difficulty level. It's like a Dark Souls boss all of a sudden. You have to be really on point with your dodges. You can't just blast it with the infinite ammo rocket launcher. You have to like do something in the arena. And so I died on that one like 10 times, maybe more. Like a good percentage of my total play time, not of my in-game time, but of my total play time was spent on just that last boss. So make sure you save right before him, because you're almost certainly going to have to grind him out multiple times. I feel for anyone that's a speedrunner of this game, because it must suck to get your speedrun to the very, very end and then have a chance to lose it at the hardest part. Brutal. Yeah, that one run popped all these trophies at the same time, which was pretty cool. Unlocking like 5 trophies at once. 6 trophies, sorry for beating the game on Inferno, and then boom, got the platinum. So long, RC. So long, Raccoon City, the Resident Evil 3 platinum, which is a very common platinum. Man, Resident Evil fans are hardcore. Now, this is the PlayStation 5 version, and I'm pretty sure there's an auto pop, so that definitely inflates the percentage, but even the PS4 version has a pretty dang high percentage. People really don't mess around when it comes to survival horror stuff. I mean, beat the game in under 2 hours, the speedrun trophy being 43%, like almost half of all the owners of this game have done a speedrun in under 2 hours. Seriously? That's so wild. That's why it's like the auto pop is really coming in clutch there, I think. So yeah, I finished that up, and then I went back, did one more playthrough of Stay. So every playthrough, once you beat the game once in Stay, you unlock like a fast text, because it's kind of visual novelty in some aspects. But even with the fast text, you need to make sure you are answering the right things to get very specific like levels of emotional bond, and you still have to watch a lot of cutscenes and stuff. So in a playthrough to get an ending takes about an hour. So keep that in mind as we look at all these endings that I got. But I, took an hour here to go get one more ending and chip away slowly at that Stay platinum. Then I went back, continued to get through Crow Country. You just get trophies for a lot of common stuff, kind of finding upgrades and secrets and things like that. And here you can see on stream, I finished the game on October 8th. So when I finished the game, I actually got really lucky. So I wasn't really paying attention, but I happened to achieve an S rank, which is the best rank in the game and the highest for the trophy, on my first playthrough. So you can see I completed the game at 1052, and then 1053, 1053, 1053, all these popped. So I just got an S rank without really trying. It turns out that there's, I guess, 3 criteria that go into your ending for Crow Country, so just heads up if you're going to play this game. It's the number of healing items you used, and it's the number of clues that you got. So there's like an area in the game where you can go and ask for like a hint on what to do next. And it's the number of secrets that you found. It's those 3 things. So you want to find all the secrets and not really heal and not use any clues. When I played through, I used 1 clue. I think I only needed to use like 3 or 4 healing items. And I found all but 2 of the secrets. So that must have been enough in totality to get me the S rank. So that's really not that bad at all. And then I just booted it up right afterwards. Went and got the last upgrade and the last secret that I didn't have. The secrets and the upgrades are the same. Like an upgrade location is a secret, so it's just getting both of those. And boom, pop the platinum. Very common, very doable platinum, very fun platinum for a survival horror fan. So if you like indie stuff and you want a good, fun survival horror game that only takes like, 6-7 hours to platinum, I would definitely say check out Crow Country. Cool story, cool game, fun gameplay. I know I didn't talk too much about the gameplay here, but it plays very well. Really fun environments and location. I definitely recommend it. All right. Then we have DJ Max Respect, just a little bit more grinding for the platinum here. I got 500 max combos, so max combo on 500 different songs. And then I just had a day where I just said, I'm grinding out Stay. I was just watching some YouTube videos, kind of half paying attention to it, and I knocked it out. So remember, each of these takes about an hour. So I just sat there, on October 14th, I don't know, Saturday or Sunday, one of those days, and just said, I'm going to knock these out. Boom, 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 boom. Followed a guide. There's a guide that's on PSNP in the forums that has a lot of the answers, so thank you to that person. And then there's also a guide on true achievements, because it's an Xbox game as well, that tells you specific things. And I followed different guides for different endings, because not all of them were available in one place. But we got all the endings, and boom, we got the Platinum Trophy, which is only 31 people have, but there's only 175 owners, so it's still a 17% rarity. Definitely an uncommon Platinum, though. And again, a fun game. Not the best game in the world, but enjoyable enough, although the Platinum Trophy is a grind. Like, you're going to spend a long time replaying stuff for different endings and seeing a lot of the same cutscenes over and over and over again. And then back to more DJ Max. I was doing mission mode and cleared all the songs in the base game, not counting DLC. All right, next up, I have the trophies themselves blurred out because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But I went back, actually, my buddy Matt that I do the trophy backlog, completion challenge with, he gave me as a project Heavy Rain to go back and clean up. And I played Heavy Rain when it first came out, like a long time ago, and have not played it since. There was a whole saga to get this save file. So you'll see it when we get later, but one of the trophies you need in Heavy Rain is to unlock all endings. And, it's a decision-based adventure game, and so different characters can live or die or have different outcomes based on the decisions you make during the game. So you need to play through in a bunch of different ways in order to see all the endings. But I know I had played it in the past, and I know that some friends had played it on my account before, and so I had a save file that already had some of the endings unlocked, and I wanted to start from that rather than needing to completely start on a fresh save file. And so I went to get my old data, but there was a problem, which is that the PlayStation 3 that the save file was on was one of the old backwards compatible original PlayStation 3 models. Mine was broken in that it overheats. You turn it on, and after 2 or 3 minutes, it overheats. I think that probably the thermal paste has cracked. And so I needed to get the save file off that, but I could not play on that PlayStation. And so I really quickly put in a USB thumb drive. I booted it up, went straight to the save file, went to copy it, and it turns out that it is copy protected, and I couldn't get the save data off of it onto a USB drive, and I was like, damn it. And then immediately after that, the PlayStation beep, 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 locked up, overheated, and turned off, because that's what it does. And I couldn't turn it back on right away because it was too hot, so I had to let it cool down. And the next day I tried it again after it cooled down, went to go copy the save data to the cloud, and it wasn't logged in on my PS3. And so I went to log into my PSN account to access my cloud saves on that PS3, but before I could log in, beep, 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 it overheated and shut down. And so I'm like, oh God. So I'm determined at this point. I wait another day, let it cool down overnight. I boot it up. I really fast go to log in, get logged in, and then beep, 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 beep. It shuts down before I can copy the save file. So I let it cool down again, a fourth time. Then I race in, go to the save file, go to copy it. There's multiple saves, okay? And I just guessed which one I needed, uploaded to the cloud right after the cloud upload completed, beep, 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 shuts down. And so now I have the save file in the cloud, and I log into my other PS3 to download it. Turns out Heavy Rain save data has copy protection. You can only download your save from the cloud once every 24 hours, including the first 24 hours after you upload it. It's so dumb. And so I had to wait 24 hours to download the save data. But after all that fighting with my broken PS3, I successfully got my old save after like a week of attempts. And I was able to successfully start playing my original Heavy Rain save. And so I followed a guide. There's some trophies you have to do for very specific endings, like that meet very specific conditions. I don't want, again, they're blurred out. I don't want to spoil anything for people, but needless to say, it's not something that is easy to do. You have to definitely follow a guide. You need to know what you're doing. But I unlocked all those pretty quickly in my first playthrough, or my actually first 2 playthroughs. Took me like 7 hours or so. And then I was kind of set up to start working on the endings. But took a little break. Before that, I decided I wanted to play a little bit of VR. So I don't have them with me. I should have grabbed them. But I learned that there are companies that 3D print prescription lenses that you can click into your VR headset so that you don't have to wear your glasses in the headset. Anyone out there who's a glasses wearer who enjoys VR, you know the struggle, all right? You have seen it. You are aware of it. You understand. And so I heard about this. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So I bought a pair. I got an eye appointment, got my updated prescription just so I could order prescription lenses for my PlayStation VR 2. Got them in the mail, and I wanted to try something. I didn't know what I wanted to play, so I was just looking at what the PlayStation Plus games were that had come recently. And I saw that we had Pistol Whip that was given to me for free. And so unlocked Pistol Whip or downloaded Pistol Whip and decided to play that. Very cool game. It's like a rhythm, kind of like Beat Saber meets Super Hot, I guess is the way to describe it. It's like a rhythm-based arena shooter. You're always moving forward. You want to shoot enemies on the beat, and you can melee them too, hence the name Pistol Whip. And it's all set to like, very like pumping electronic music and stuff like that. So I had a great time with that. The prescription lenses worked super well, so I'll definitely be continuing on with that game, but that was just like a fun little diversion into Pistol Whip. Then I went on and played another game, which I've not seen hardly anyone ever talk about, and I definitely recommend to rhythm game fans. Very rhythm-heavy month. And that is Mad Rat Dead. So Mad Rat Dead is a PlayStation 4, and it's also on Switch, rhythm platformer. So imagine Crypt of the Necrodancer, where on the bottom of the screen, or Cadence of Hyrule, on the bottom of the screen, there's these kind of like pumping beats that line up on every quarter note. You have to press different buttons to take different actions to platform through levels. So you have like a dash, you have a jump, you have a dive, and you have an ability that boosts your next action to like twice the potency. And it's just you platforming by pressing buttons like boom, 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 boom in a rhythm. Really tough, but very, very fun. It's really well done. And has a surprisingly interesting story. So I just unlocked a bunch of trophies playing all the way through that game. I played through this because I'm going to be on the podcast of a friend of mine. I don't know if he wants me to announce it yet, but I'll definitely mention it on the channel once I'm on there. I'm going to be on a podcast talking about this game. So I thought it would be fun to go for the platinum. And so I played all the way through the game. There's individual trophies for S+ ranking, which is kind of like getting a high combo and a fast time on each stage. Pretty hard to do, actually. So I just played through a whole bunch of the games and ended up beating the game. I've been chipping away at that slowly over time, too. Then I went back to Heavy Rain and unlocked the platinum. Boom. So before I talk about the platinum, I got to talk about this all endings trophy. There are like 17 endings that you need to unlock, and all of them require, certain people to be alive, certain people to be dead, certain people to be at certain places at certain times. So it really is pretty complicated if you try to do it yourself. Thankfully, there's a great guide on PSNP that you can follow that tells you, like, here's every decision you need to make at every point, and then you can go chapter select to a specific chapter, start your save back from that point, and play through again, making different decisions to get different endings. And you only need to go back in chapter select as far as you need to in order to, make a different decision. So you don't actually have to replay most of the game. You can replay like the last fourth of the game in different ways a bunch of times to unlock all the endings. So I spent, another 10 hours just playing the last 5 chapters of Heavy Rain over and over and over again. But I got that one, and then I got this one miscellaneous trophy, and I unlocked Heavy Rain Master. Now, this is a special platinum to me for 2 reasons. One, it was the oldest game on my entire profile that I had not yet platinumed. So the oldest game on my profile, the first game I ever played and platinumed, was the original Blaze Blue game. The second game on my profile was Heavy Rain, and it was unplatinumed. So this is the oldest possible game on my backlog knocked off. Which brings to the second reason that I'm proud of this one, is that the time to completion on this one shows 14 years, 8 months. It took me almost a decade and a half to get this platinum. You can't see that kind of spread very often in life. Like, that is good stuff. So that one feels really good to knock off the deep, deep backlog. Yeah, really fun to revisit that game a decade and a half later. When I first played this game, I was like barely out of high school. And now here I am. I have a child. I have a son. And I'm getting the platinum. It's followed me through like a third of my life. Isn't that wild? Cool. That's what I love about trophy hunting, and what I love about these accounts is they give you this history, this journal of where you've been and like where you were at different stages of your life. And now I'll always get to have Heavy Rain there showing me like what was my life like when I started it and what was my life like when I finished it. Really, really cool. So trophy hunting's great. Then I went back, did some more pistol whip, just doing a bunch of miscellaneous stuff like beating levels under certain conditions, getting 90% accuracy. I don't quite have the platinum in this game yet. I will, though. I have like 5 trophies left, and they all seem pretty doable. So, shouldn't be too bad. Then I did some more trophy cleanup on Mad Rat Dead. You have to do this trophy. This is actually pretty hard. Cleared a stage with all greats. Or, no, this isn't the hard one. Clearing a stage with all greats is pretty doable. That's just a full comboing a level. But I got more S ranks, and then do I have this one? Oh, great. Clear a game with less, or a level with less than 10 greats. So that basically means play the entire level completely out of rhythm, which is way harder than playing it on rhythm. It's so much harder to ignore the beat. And so what I ended up having to do is turn the volume off so that the music couldn't throw me off, because I naturally try to sync with the music if it's there. So I muted the game and just tried to get like a rhythm without looking at the actual timing of it. Just a rhythm of pressing the button wrong. And even then I barely got it. I think I still got 10 greats across the stage. So not an easy trophy, at least not for me. Then I'm going to scroll past, just a bunch more S ranks here. I'm going to scroll past these because Grubbins on Ice. This is another deep out of the backlog game. This is the DLC for Costume Quest, which is a PS3 digital game. I played it back in the day, a decade ago. I could probably look up my history here on it. Yeah, all my other previous trophies were unlocked October 2010. And so here we are, October 2024. Also a 14-year game. But I never played the DLC before. It's only a couple hours long, just like a couple of locations, a couple new costumes and stuff. Very fun. Just kind of cleaning up that PS3 backlog, going in, getting the DLC before the PlayStation 3 store inevitably goes down and we can't access the DLCs anymore. So I just wanted to get it taken care of. And this was another game that my buddy Matt assigned to me, so I was happy to go back and redo it. Plus, really close to Halloween. Very appropriate game, very, very fitting for the season. Then I did more S ranks here in Mad Rat Dead. And I unlocked S rank on all stages in normal. So to get the platinum, you have to do all stages on normal and all stages on hard. Hard is really hard. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I know that I say that about most rhythm games that I play, but like it's the only trophy left separating me from the platinum. Like it's literally the only trophy left I don't have. And I've gotten S rank on like half of the hard stages, but the last boss it's going to be so, like, next to impossible to get. I don't know. Don't know if it's possible. I might try for a while, but oof, it's going to be brutal. The platinum rarity is like a 6 or a 7%, so it's not a very common one because of the difficulty. And then I went back, and I think this is the last thing I cleaned up. No, actually, no, second to last. I played through the DLC for the Prince of Persia game that came out this year. This is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This is the Mask of Darkness DLC. That is a great gated exploration. If you guys have never played the Prince of Persia game that came out this year, it's probably on pretty good discount at this point. Really, really fun if you like, you know, open world Metroidvanias. It's got like really fun movement, really fun combat, great sense of style. It's just a cool game. And the DLC is just kind of more of the same, you know, more good, high quality gaming. So I had fun with it. It's the type of DLC that takes away your upgrades and your abilities before you go in, which might bum some people out. But it's nice because it means that they can like tune the difficulty so that everyone has the same experience. Yeah, I just played through, had a great time with it. Really fun DLC, and that brought this game back up to a 100%. And then the last game I just cleaned up earlier today before recording this video, the last game that my buddy Matt assigned to me out of my backlog is Minute of Islands. This is an indie kind of like story adventure game. It's the type of game where I think that the art and the visuals, the art design, and the soundtrack are the strongest parts. The actual minute-to-minute gameplay is the worst part. It's slow, and the puzzles aren't too difficult. It's never bad. It's just very, very average, and the pacing is slow. So it's a fun game to look at, but not always that great of a game to play. And so I had gotten halfway through this game years ago, never finished it, and just went back and cleaned it up. I mean, you can see it's a very easy game. It's like a 50% platinum rarity, 47.09%. So most people that have played this game have it. Very easy and straightforward. Not much you can miss. I just had never finished the game. I got halfway through and dropped it, and it was like, you know, I'm in such like a backlog cleaning mode. Now's the time. We'll go back and finish it up. So, yeah. That is everything I unlocked in October. So if we scroll up here, you can see, I know it's hard to see with this extension I have, but I can remove it for a sec. I'm at 184 platinum trophies and level 517 now coming out of this. My completion has gone up to 64.77, which is pretty nice. And my average rarity is doing pretty good too, down to 46.65. So a lot of good work on the backlog there. Really been enjoying cleaning up my stuff. So yeah, let me know what you worked in October, as I always do want to know. It's always interesting to know what games people are playing. Did you play any survival horror games? And yeah, hopefully you got some good trophy hunting done while you watched, or otherwise just had some good gaming. And I will chat with you in the next video. Peace.